Hello everyone and welcome back to the Drive Guide, where today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. If you were with me back when I had the 2019 Ford Explorer, I was breaking down everything in that car that I liked, but not necessarily doing a full review, as the 2019 model year for that car is the last of that generation, and for 2020 the all-new Ford Explorer is coming along. And that's the same situation I find myself in today with the 2019 Lincoln MKC. This car came out in 2014 and 2019 is its last year, where in 2020 Lincoln will bring along the all-new Corsair. Built on top of the new Ford Escape platform, it's going to be a much different car inside and out. So the reasons why I have this car with me today is so that when it comes to the point I am testing out the new Corsair, I'll be able to compare the new car to this one, find out what I don't like about this car and see if they've changed or improved upon those issues I've had with this generation. So first things first, for the 2019 MKC, we're in the top trim reserve. It comes with everything: automatic parking, 360-degree cameras, the upscale wood and leather packaging, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, all of that very good stuff. But some of the new equipment that is not available in this car at all, that will be for the Corsair, include the digital instrument cluster, the perfect position seats that Lincoln has in a few of its other models, a 360-degree camera system, and the latest of Ford's active safety equipment. Now, the interior design, I think, is going to be the greatest difference between the MKC and the Corsair. This, although it looks like it's related to the Ford Escape, it looks like a much different vehicle. The layout of how the touchscreen and the buttons down below for your climate control, how that all angles down, is unique to this car. And this center console arrangement as well is different to the MKC. But the new Corsair will have that design language that we've seen in the latest Navigator, for the new Aviator that's also coming out next year. It might not exactly feel like a premium product in the way that a BMW or an Audi does. It's still got a lot of grainy, soft plastics, and it's actually got a lot of creaking to it too. You might be able to hear this. Just a lot of the plastic flexing around. But this is all something that Lincoln, I'm sure, has improved on for the new car. So let's go ahead and start driving, and then I'll share with you everything that I think you need to know about this car, and then also share some relevant information regarding the new Corsair. The MKC came with two different powertrain configurations. You had a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that came with front-wheel drive, or the larger 2.3 turbocharged EcoBoost engine that comes with all-wheel drive. Moving up in the range gave you that more powerful engine, the 4-wheel drive capability, and that's really what everybody in this crossover segment wants. They want all-wheel drive. The front-wheel drive configuration is just a way to lower the entry price, get people through the front door at the dealership. You can hardly blame Lincoln for it. Pretty much every manufacturer does it. And those two powertrain configurations are carrying on to the Corsair, albeit with slightly more power. The MKC is really quite a fun car to drive about. The Escape, on which this car is of course based on, is a fun car. It's darty, it has this real alert and kind of puppy dog enthusiasm to it, where it just wants to run around and get you from place to place as quickly as possible. And that carries over more than I thought it would in the Lincoln. It isn't by any stretch the best driving SUV I've come across, but it's much more fun than it has any right to be. What I would hope they improve, though, for the powertrain of the Corsair is dropping the 6-speed transmission that they have in this car and using something else, and I believe that they are, so that's good. The 6-speed in this is just a bit groggy. It doesn't want to downshift. The paddles behind the steering wheel are some pretty cheap plastic and don't really respond to any input that you put towards them. I feel like the MKC does a better job of separating itself from its Ford counterpart than what the Nautilus does to the Ford Edge that I tested out a couple months ago. A couple standout problems I have with this MKC is the digital instrument cluster is, honestly, it's just a mess. The middle screen and the part that's within the speedo work together with this right-hand side arrow selector, and then the other side, where you'd think the conjoined parts between the centered part of the screen and inside of the tack would work together, but they're not. It works with this left-hand side arrow controller. It's honestly all quite a bit confusing, seeing as that the Corsair will be going with a full-size digital instrument cluster. I'm sure that's an issue that will be addressed. The clamshell trunk design is much like the Audi Q3s, and this is something that's totally separate from the Ford Escape as well, and it appears to be the exact same thing for the 2020 Escape and the Corsair. Problem though, it takes a really long time to raise. Hopefully that's something Lincoln can fix for the next car. The engine stop-start has a really odd placement. I don't care for that at all. Another thing, can you hear how loud this air-conditioned seat is? Here it is off. Driving about, probably only doing like 10 kilometers an hour right now. I'm stuck behind a truck. Now let's put that at full speed. It's really loud, and I'm really not feeling much of the ventilation coming through the seat. Despite being a compact crossover and competing against, let's say, a BMW X3 or Audi Q5, it feels significantly smaller than those cars. I had to double check when I got into this MKC that it was classified as a compact. It just seems quite small in the front and second row. The upcoming Corsair will have the latest Lincoln design language. It will have that new dashboard design, and you can see there's some similar traits between the MKC and the Corsair. For the interior, it has that open portion for the storage behind the climate control system. So the MKC is a fun car to drive, and it was up to the standards of Lincoln in years previous, but now with this new push towards truly separating themselves from Ford products, the MKC isn't up to snuff, which is totally understandable. The MKC's been out for a fair few years now, and it was ready for a new generation. So then, Lincoln, bring along the Corsair. I'm sure it's going to be a very popular product for you, and I look forward to the day where I can drive it and compare it against this MKC to see just how radical of improvements you've made. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much again for taking the time to watching this short overview video of this MKC. And if you want to subscribe to the channel so that when it comes round to next year and I have the Lincoln Corsair in my hands, you'll be armed with the same knowledge as me as I go into my review of that premium compact crossover. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you again soon.